what we're heading towards is Cloverton, and Cloverton is a master planned estate of over 30,000 blocks, and it is a 20-year plan. So when we talk about 30,000 blocks, they haven't been released yet. It's actually been released in stages. However, it is a 20-year master plan, and what that means is that it includes a shopping centre, a 24-hour medical centre. It will also include 3 public schools and private schools. So the land that we're travelling through now obviously is still privately owned, and the City of Whittlesea hasn't actually released it. On our right hand side it's the City of Whittlesea, on our left hand side it's the City of Hume, but Cloverton is actually the City of Hume. So we're going into an area whereby it is being developed, and the area that we're driving through will eventually be developed over the next 20 years. And it's amazing what municipalities do. They seem to go out as far as they possibly can, and then they build backwards. So for those that know Pakenham, for example, Pakenham is classed as outer Melbourne. The phone numbers start with a 57. And they started building from Pakenham back. They put the major train station in.
Why do they do that? Why do they build from going backwards rather than just adding on and extending and extending?
Because it's easier to go out further. The land is a lot cheaper, and they infrastructure the land, they do the civil works on the land, and then they create a community in that area, especially if it's a master planned area. And so therefore there's a reason for people to go out there to buy, live, become a community, and then it's easier to fill the land in. So that's how it's called. We changed the green zone. The green zone is land that will never ever be residential, and then they change it to residential from the green zone. And
that's how they get around it.
That's how they get around it. So they work backwards from it, and it's always a 20, 25 and 30 year plan, especially master planned estates.
So if you can get in master plan at the beginning and invest for 10, 20 years as a young person, like if you're in your 30s and you invest early on, in 20 years' time, you'll be laughing.
Exactly. And an astute investor may feel a little bit nervous investing in the first 1 to 5 or even 10 stages, because you literally are investing in a paddock that has nothing around it. But if you go into the sales office and you see what the master plan is all about, the municipality is actually signed off on the master plan. And we know in the master plan there are particular regulations and rules around how much green area, in other words, how many parks and gardens, how many play areas for children, how much green space is going to be in the schools that are allocated, how much dining and entertaining space is going to be around the shopping centres and so forth. And then of course what else is going to be within that particular estate. So a particular estate might have, for example, a water park. It might be the feature of the estate, or it could be, it's a combination of sporting fields, many sporting fields, and or community centres. So when you start seeing different estates and they might have a different name in that estate, they will all come under the major master plan, but each estate area might have a particular something in it, and it could be the shopping centre, or it could be the medical centre, or it could be a combination of childcare centres. So they have specific precincts within a master planned area. But yes, Donna, that's exactly right. If you purchase within the first few stages, even though it is, land and construction going up, in the next 10, 15 and 20 years time, you are going to be amazingly rewarded by how much money in capital growth that will go up.
Well, I can tell you now, I've never seen a traffic light on this road. This old country bumpkin road now has a traffic light, so that tells you something about the growth, because...
And traffic, and this is another thing that the municipality looks at when they are looking at master planned areas. It may be what we would call a minimal major thoroughfare. So we're looking at Donnybrook Road now, in between the Hume Highway and High Street in Wollert Epping. And this was a major middle road between, the two areas. Well, I
remember this was like a dirt road for a long time.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this road now is being extended, is being reworked, and it's being reworked from the developers that are creating the estate. So when the developers come in, not only do they develop the estate, they actually develop a lot of the major infrastructure around it, as in roadworks and so forth like that. And it just helps entice the area and make the area very livable and approachable, and actually you can get to the area as well. So many different, farmers, people, landowners own this land, and they were obviously approached by developers who had already put in submissions and plans and suggestions to the local municipality to get the area approved, then to approach the landowners to actually develop the land. And then, of course, the developer, needs to get the sales done, even though the land's not registered. And this, of course, helps with the cash flow for the developer to start on the civil works on the land. Putting the roads, the courts in, the sewerage in, water, power, gas, electricity, NBN, telecommunications lines and so forth.
Oh, wow, look at this. This tiny little train station, Donnybrook train station, has been improved. This was like a tiny little train. I remember this was tiny. You'd be lucky if one or two people copped on the train here.
That's right.
Look at it now.
And we have the, little Donnybrook Hotel that's no longer little anymore. And of course, we've got all these residential homes around it. And this was definitely a country, a tiny Donnybrook, one hotel, one pub.
It was tiny, I remember.
Tiny little village, country town. And of course, it's such a residential, major residential area now. And we've got residential areas either side. We've got Kinbrook, we've got Collinbrook, we've got Donnybrook, we've got going through to Calcutta, and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of homes, and many thousands of people living here. It really is just incredible to know that these were once paddocks, and I can tell you that the change in this has been definitely over the last 10 years. And what has happened in the last 10 years would have been a 15 to 18 year plan. And as I said, the master plan itself is a 20, 25 and 30 year plan. And they're only 10 years into that, and you can see how far they'll go out. So eventually they will start going back to, Epping or Craigieburn.
And filling in the gaps.
And filling in the gaps.
Yeah,
And that's what's
I
going to
understand.
happen.